And the gates open, and we welcome you to the Goodyear FIA European Truck Racing Championship. And we are about to see another race number 2 this weekend here at the Slovakia ring. And the gate is open, and as you can see, the trucks are lining up, turning around, and soon will be here with us. Who is here with us tonight and today? Wow, that was quite a jump. I don't know if you saw that in the background. So the program around the Slovakia ring is very, very, very interesting and fine. And Janine Meyer is with us. She's Director of Operations. But we do talk about the competition. And this competition, the Goodyear FIA ETRC, which is so strong this year. What do you say about this competition?
I totally agree. It's really strong. So we have some new competitors joining us this season. So like with Mark Taylor, so he's completely new in the ETRC. And then also John Newell, who already joined us last season. And José Eduardo Rodriguez, our young gun. So he's really impressive driver. So he's already on the 5th place of the overall classification. So yeah, pretty cool.
So we had some interesting weather conditions. We're going to show you later on some rainy stuff we recorded here. But here at Slovakia Ring, as you can see, the program around is very much fun. There's a kids program. And how is it to take the competition here?
It's always a pleasure because we are working together with a really motivated and young team. So they improve the circuit nearly every time we are coming. So it's really good. And we are here already for the 5th time. And appreciate it every time.
And there's a second floor in this building, which is completely new also. So here and there, slightly under construction. But as you can see, this racetrack is absolutely improving. And the fans, they're really spectacular. We saw them cheering up during the rain pause. How good it is to have such a great fan base here.
It's really fabulous because, to be quite honest, it's the first time ever I saw the paddock such crowded like this year. So after COVID, fans coming back and more than ever, I think.
Absolute great. We're going to see some more actions until we do have real actions. Thank you very much, Janine.
Welcome. Thank you.
So as you can see, the teams are coming into the paddock, and he's cheering up, Also cheering up are absolutely our commentators. I don't know if we'd give it a go another time. Maybe we don't want to miss that. Provide you with some other images. Him on a motorcycle. Yeah, why not? Let's stay and have a look. And he's flying up into the air. Nice trick. But of course, we're looking forward to see our 5.4 tons trucks on the racetrack again. As you can see, sunny conditions, yes, but maybe some rain afterwards. We are not sure about that. Absolutely dry and safe. In the commentator seats are Chess Draycott, Joachim Everts and Fonsi. And so why don't we have a look at the first race?
Thank you very much, Christina. Yes, what a fantastic first race we had today, but conditions that nobody would have expected at all. It was all sunny and clear and wonderful ahead of the first race, and then out of nowhere, a massive, colossal rain shower came out of nowhere and really spiced things up. Although everybody remained resilient, everybody in the broadcasting team, everyone at the circuit, the teams and the drivers as well. And we finally got underway under yellow flag conditions after a near 40-minute delay. But it did mean that the drivers had to be a lot more cautious in these treacherous conditions. Andrei Kurzim, Stefan Faas and Louis Requenco all falling by the wayside at certain points of the race, but able to still carry on and at least finish. Norbert Kish was fine at the front of the pack though, as always in the wet. He really does do well in the wet conditions, and he managed to stay out front and take the first race victory of the weekend. Jochen Hahn had a good fight back with Sascha Lenz alongside him for the most part, but in the end it was not going to be Jochen's position to gain. Sascha would finish on the podium. A great move there by Steffi Halm on Jamie Anderson, but Norbert Kish remained supreme at the front of the pack to take a race win over Antonio Albertetti and Sascha Lenz. Jochen Hahn coming home in 4th ahead of Steffi Halm and Jamie Anderson, and now the grid is going to form back up once again with Jose Eduardo Rodriguez at the very front of the pack. He won the Promoters Cup race in that first race of the day, finished in 8th position, which means that he is reversed onto pole, and it's going to be very important for him, that, because Louis Requenco, who you see there on the right hand side of his shot in the dark green machine, is the one that is closest to him. Now, he's not going to be anywhere near close around Slovakia Ring because this vast circuit is a colossal venue. It's a massive track at Slovakia Ring. We love it here. It's nearly 3 minutes a lap with 14 corners, and they are long, smooth corners as well with big radiuses. As you see at the very top of that map there is turn 2. It's such a high-speed corner indeed, nearly 100 miles an hour in our trucks around there, and there's not much in terms of slowing down at all. Turn 3, the hairpin after that as well, that goes on to this very tight and twisty infield, is a big challenge on the brakes here. You'll see a lot of steam coming off the front of the trucks there as they slam on the brakes now and get the water jets spraying on them, which is how they are manually cooled over the course of these races. Very interesting amount of technology in these racing trucks to make it possible to race them at such full chat. Obviously, it's quite an interesting concept, is racing trucks. They have the usual movement and elegance of a massive moose, but they still do a good job at looking good out there. Christina is down there on the grid, though, for the first of many chats for us.
Yes, in the front row with Andrej Kozum, and I do have kind of a deja vu. We're standing in the sun, there's a big black cloud, and what's going to happen?
Yes, we don't know. The clouds are very dark now, and maybe we get rain for the second race. Maybe we don't get rain. We don't know. We have to wait and we will see.
It has been really complicated for you in the first race. Could you describe the situation for us?
Yes, everybody knows we have to be careful at the rain. But yes, everybody is a race driver and want to win the race. And yes, I have a little mistake and I get 3 or 4 positions back. Yes, and now I have to push and go on the 7th positions in the first race.
Thank you very much. This is the good thing about the reverse grid. Right now he's starting from front row, and we are always there for you at the front row.
Yes, we are indeed, and Andrej Kozum hoping to make the most of that front row start and score. Don't hold them up too much when there's potential contact on the horizon. But one of the main things as well is that in the actual championship standings themselves, you don't get as many points for the second race of the day. So you need to be very careful about where you try and push to score those points, because the first race is worth it a little bit more with plenty more of the points on offer. The second race, each position is basically worth 1 point more. So if you finish in 10th place, you will only score 1 point, and then of course 9th place 2 points, 8th place 3 points, and so on, and the race winner only scoring 10, whereas you get 20 in the first race of the day. You can see though that it's a lot drier at the moment. We've been told that a potential rain shower is on its way, and it will be at the circuit about 6 p.m, so that's in just under an hour's time, so we may be able to completely avoid the rain, which would be lovely to see. But I know that, like Norbert Kish said in his interview earlier, it could be interesting to get some rain and spice up the race a little bit. You can definitely see a channel of it in the middle of your screen there. Very solid amount of rain coming down a while away from the circuit, but we'll wait and see just what happens with that. We're going to be welcoming our TV viewers from all around the world in just a moment's time, and we will actually welcome them in just a second's time.
European Truck Racing Championship. Hello everyone and welcome to the Goodyear FIA European Truck Racing Championship. Welcome from the Slovakia ring. We're standing in the sun, but maybe you've watched this recently, and in between race number 1 there's been so many rain, and as you can see there's a dark cloud there, but the rain radar says it's going to be here so at 6 p.m. So let's get started. This is race number 2 in this weekend, which means we do have a reverse grid. Who ended up on 8th position is right now starting on the 1st position, which is the Portuguese Rodrigues, and right alongside him is going to be Andrej Kozum competing in the first row. So we do have a lot of action this weekend, and as I mentioned, we did have a lot of rain, so why not show you some of our working circumstances we had earlier. Gentlemen, we are still singing in the rain, and it is not so much fun as you might have noticed, and the lens is full of drips of water and we truly are completely soaked, but we're still hiding here behind the pace truck due to of course the techniques trying to get the camera safe. And as you can see, the race is delayed. Maybe Chaz and Ebi and Fonzie have already told us, but we are out of connection here, but still we can see the surface is completely wet, and of course in such a condition it's not safe to drive and get the start. But we hope to get the track very dry very, very soon to keep you provided with all the racing action we wanted to see. But as you can see and hear from the stands, everyone is like honking and they're in such a good mood. Everyone is soaked, but still full of fun and full of joy, because this is obviously, you just can laugh about the situation. We absolutely do that. The lights are there on yellow, not a good sign also, but of course start is delayed. So we hope to get somewhere else maybe soon. But as you can see, look over there, the cloud. It's better. It's getting better. I'm very, very optimistic. I'm always very, very optimistic. So back to you. See you.
Yeah, hats off to Christina. She was really, really braving the conditions earlier on, and not the easiest of things to work in is a racing circuit, especially when there's a lot of rain. But hello, everybody. Chaz Draker up here in the commentary box. I'm back in the UK for this weekend, commentating remotely. And my wonderful colleagues Ebi and Fonzie commentating in German and Spanish, respectively, on their separated streams. We're here at the Slovakia ring, 14 corners, 14 very difficult corners as well on this very, very long circuit, nearly 6 kilometres in length, rivals Spa-Francorchamps in terms of length and lap time as well. A cool-down lap in qualifying is nearly 4 minutes long, and even in that first race of the day, the fastest lap was actually over 3 minutes as well. 3 minutes and 1 second by Norbert Kish, and in 8th position in that first race was Jose Eduardo Rodriguez, who won the Promoters' Cup, and he's going to be starting from pole position. He's ready for a chat with Christina.
Absolutely, and he's loving the sun as we do. So, está muito melhor andar no sol do que na chuva, não é?
Sim, nós desde ontem que nos preparámos com o tempo seco, há pouco tivemos chuva molhada, o que nos impossibilitou de se calhar ter um melhor resultado, mas vamos lutar agora para conseguir uma vitória.
So he says he's going to be prepped for the sunny conditions, and he said earlier, of course, we had the rain and it was much more problematic for all the drivers, and so he fell down to 8th position, but right now he's competing in the front row. So acabar no lugar 8, claro que não era ótimo, mas agora pode vencer.
Sim, vamos tentar fazer um bom arranque, segurar a posição e, se possível, trazer a vitória para nós.
Obrigada. So you said, yes, of course, we're trying to compete very well and, of course, heading to the podium. And luckily, maybe afterwards, be on position number 1. So he's trying to give it a go, as we do also.
Yeah, for sure. And that's the thing. When you start at the front of the grid like this, when you're part of the Promoters' Cup, you have to just try and take those race wins. You've got to throw everything at it that you can. There's no point in holding back and trying to be all reserved and be polite and let let's just say the big boys through when it comes to the top of the championship runners, as there is one of the cameras being cleaned, which is provided to us by the wonderful people at Vision Track. There are camera suppliers for this season. There's the gorgeous number 11 machine of Don't Touch Racing. Andre Kurzim's truck looks fantastic this season. They're always so well presented, and the truck and driver are even looking fantastic as well. Andre is certainly hoping for some big points here from this race. There are the fans on the banks around the circuit, umbrellas going flying by the look of it, and it seems to me that they were putting on at least a sort of poncho thing then. There was no coats going on, but I think there may be the need for some sort of cover from rain very soon. I've just had a couple of pictures from Steve Miller, bless him, from Apollo, who's just sent me some pictures of the clouds down there from the grid, and he's just said any bets on the same again, and I think, to be honest, the rain might be with us before 6 p.m. It's looking very ominous indeed. There goes the Ford F-Max on its way around the circuit. I didn't want to bore you with it all again, with what I was mentioning before about all the amazing testing and road testing, lab testing, all sorts that go on to make the Ford F-Max what it is. But it is a fantastic machine to have as part of our championship, and we use it for its inspection laps. And I was lucky enough actually last year to witness the power of the Ford F-Max in its current spec as well when we were at the Nürburgring. The amazing Frank and even Lucas as well, who we will hopefully have with us for a couple of rounds this season, were doing donuts in the Mercedes arena in their Ford F-Maxes, and I was fortunate enough to be one of the passengers for said donuts, and despite my motion sickness, I thoroughly enjoyed myself, and it really does show you the power of these trucks. I mean, some trucks in the top end of the industry have 700 horsepower, sometimes even over that as well. They are real giants of the industry. We're going to go back down on the grid, though, to Christina for another chat.
Absolutely, with the number 3 on the truck. Are we going to see rain again?
Oh, I don't know. I hope not. So we have all the same problem then. But yeah, the first race was really good in the rain. So maybe the rain is coming back. So we will see.
We will see. Thank you very much. Have a safe ride. As you can see, the engines are getting started. The rumbling we want to hear right now ahead of race number 2.
Yes, indeed. The thunder is starting, but in its own way on the circuit in the form of our 12-litre 6-cylinder engines. And I cannot wait to see what we have lined up for this next race. It's certainly an interesting scenario, though. The sun was shining when we went live, and all of a sudden it seems a lot more gloomy. When we look back at the Ford F-Max, it doesn't even look in like it's orange anymore. It looks more of a brown in this gloomy light. You can see the wind as well, battering the trees and the curbs and all sorts. Not the curbs, sorry, the bollards that were on the inside there. I've been told by Steve again, thank you Steve Miller from Apollo for letting me know that the cloud is flying in from the last corner down the start-finish straight. You can see there, it's just like having a solid grey background, like we're in a massive studio. It's just one solid, thick grey border around the circuit right now, so we have to wait and see whether we can avoid the rain throughout the entire race. We've got a couple of minutes before they will get going. There's Tony Idden from the FIA. Always have a good laugh with Tony when we're at the race meetings as well. And there's our cameraman Fleischi with his bib tucked into his shirt. Bless him. Fleischi's a really funny guy. This is on board now with Fleischi Cam as he looks forward past the Iveco. The whole grid under the watchful gaze of Tony Idden as he looks skyward and thinks this weather looks typically British, to be honest with you. I wouldn't be surprised if everybody runs for cover very soon, as the rain could potentially roll in. But not long now, only a minute to go. The minute board will be held up just now. There you go, right on cue. And everybody will be preparing to get rolling for the second race of the day. Round 6 of the 2023 Goodyear FIA European Truck Racing Championship. There is our gorgeous Iveco S-Way at the front of the pack, being driven by Frank to lead them away, I should say. There's the Ford F-Max just finishing its inspection lap and coming in now. And there is the 30-second board now being held up as the grid will get rolling. Everyone now, all final personnel will be off the grid. Rolf Werner will be the final one to make his way off after confirming that everything is good to go ahead. And in just 10 seconds' time, you'll see that Iveco S-Way hop away from the start-finish line. As it does, there you go. Frank does absolutely zero messing about in this Iveco. He really does make it dance. But it's going to be a very interesting front row here. We've got the new young gun to the championship, Jose Eduardo Rodriguez. He's only raced a couple of times in the Goodyear FIA European Truck Racing Championship before this season, and he's out there to prove himself with Andre Kurzim alongside him. Andre, a lot more experienced in this championship's history. This is his 189th start. He has 9 race wins, 15 podium appearances at just 30 years of age. And Andre will be hoping for this to be another one of those wins. Jamie Anderson and Steffi Halmer, a very powerful second row of the grid though. Jamie took a number of race victories here last year, and I know that he'll want to do the same again. But then you've got to look at the rows behind them. Jochen Hahn and Sasha Lenz on row 3. I mean, if you're ahead of that, that's terrifying in the first place. But then, let alone, you've got Antonio Albertetti and Norbert Kirsch on the next row of the grid as well. 7 titles between them. That is a absolute powerhouse of a fourth row. Here is your full grid then. Jose Eduardo Rodriguez on pole position with Andrei Kurzim alongside him in the Don't Touch Racing Iveco. Then it's Jamie Anderson alongside Steffi Halm. Those two have had some fantastic battles in the past, and we're hoping for another one in the second race of the day. Jochen Hahn next up in truck number 2. He's going to be followed by Sascha Lenz in the number 3 Apollo Tyres machine. Then we have two legends of the sport already, Antonio Albertetti and Norbert Kish. They're going to be heading off from row 4 on the grid. And then the Promoters' Cup drivers looking to try and chase down Jose Eduardo at the front of the field. Louis Requenco and Stefan Faas alongside each other on the 5th row of the grid. And then it's an all-British row 6 with John Newell and Mark Taylor forming up the back row of the grid. But again, plenty of opportunities for those guys to move forward. They just need to stay out of trouble in the early stages and get their heads down and see what they can do. John competed in a couple of rounds last season as a race-by-race entry just to get his eye in and see whether he fancied a full campaign, and it's great to have him back for it this season. And Mark Taylor as well, jumping straight over from the British Truck Racing Championship here into Europe. We had his thoughts earlier on the differences between the two series, and the whole field now follows our lovely Iveco S-Way Bio LNG powered machine being thrown around the circuit, doing a great job of safely guiding our field around. And a lot of people actually fell in love with the Iveco S-Way last season, because when we were at the Nürburgring for the ADAC International Truck Grand Prix, we were supported by the Prototype Cup, the ADAC Prototype Cup, which features LMP3, can't get my words out, LMP3 prototype cars. And they were very entertaining last year, but we still had our pace truck as the safety car for them, essentially. And there was a lot of clips of it going around all over Twitter and Facebook and Instagram of everyone absolutely loving the fact that these tiny LMP3 prototype race cars were being led around the circuit by the giant, towering Iveco S-Way Bio LNG machine. It looked very, very funny indeed, and certainly something that you don't see every day. Looks a lot more bigger than our standard race trucks that we still have here, though, as well, which really makes you wonder how much bigger than an LMP3 car the Iveco S-Way is. You can see those gigantic Bio LNG tanks down the side of it as well. One of the easiest ways to distinguish, actually, that it is one of the Bio LNG models. The eagle-eyed of you will still see them on highways and motorways all across Europe and all over the world, as they are now in full production and being rolled out all over. The air horns are sounding around the circuit as everybody gets hyped up and excited for this second race of the day, the final race of the day here at the Slovakia ring. But don't forget, we have 2 more races coming up for you tomorrow as well. We don't need to focus on that yet, though, because it's all got to happen here first. What can some of the Titan drivers do from 3rd and 4th rows of the grid? What can Jamie Anderson and Steffi Halm do from the 2nd row of the grid? Ahead of all of that, though, what can Jose Eduardo Rodriguez do? What can Andrei Kurzim do? They're going to go head-to-head out of the final corner and across the line. And we're going to get round 6 of the 2023 Goodyear FIA European Truck Racing Championship underway. And the thunder rolls down the straight in more ways than one. Jamie Anderson gets a really good getaway. Tries to fit between Andrei Kurzim and Jose Eduardo Rodriguez. Doesn't work. Steffi Halm then dives to the inside. They remain 2 by 2 down towards turn 1. Andrei Kurzim's got a fantastic launch. He's actually around the outside now as well. Jamie gives him a bit of a push through turn 1. They're both going to run wide, and Jose Eduardo Rodriguez is going to make it back through into the lead. Steffi Halm has just swapped sides with Jamie Anderson, basically. There's a bit of contact between the two of them as they head down towards turn 2. I had shades of Shane Burton and Steffi Halm doing the same last season, actually, just a moment there. Down in towards turn 2 they go. Everyone keeping it nice and tidy. Looks like John Newell has got past Stefan Faas using the inside line advantage. Down into turn 3. Kurzim puts his nose down the inside of Jose Eduardo Rodriguez. Over the hump once again, all doing 100 miles an hour, 160 kilometers an hour, the whole top 8, all 2 by 2 into turn 3. Is anyone going to overdo it? Steffi's just given a little bit of a tap to Jose Eduardo Rodriguez. There's some dust being kicked up in the background. Jochen Hahn is trying to mug all of them in the number 2 machine. Jose Eduardo Rodriguez has gone backwards. Norbert Kish is completely sideways. And look at that. Jochen Hahn up from 5th on the grid into 2nd place already. Norbert Kish going around, I think, Sasha Lenz that was. Yes, he's down the inside of him now into turn 5. Jamie Anderson and Steffi Halm still knocking lumps out of each other. Antonio Albacetti's actually doing quite well there as well. He's ahead now of Steffi Halm, who's been pushed out wide. Jamie taking absolutely no prisoners here at the Slovakia ring like he did last season as well. So right now it's Andrei Kurzim, Jochen Hahn, Jamie Anderson, Antonio Albacetti, and then, well, now it's Norbert Kirsch as he goes down the inside of Steffi as well. She's really getting knocked about on this first lap, but she's not going to take that line down, I can tell you. Sasha Lenz next up, and then behind him is actually Jose Eduardo Rodriguez, who's had a real torrid lap. He's just dropped position after position in the early stages from pole all the way down now, and there's so many drivers queuing up in the Promoters' Cup to have a go at him. But now they all go single file round turn 10 in towards turn 11. Louis Requenco has dropped a bunch of places as well, right to the back of the pack. He's behind Mark Taylor and Stefan Fast. John Newell up into 9th place now as well, 2nd in the Promoters' Cup. Jose Eduardo Rodriguez is behind Steffi Halm and Sasha Lenz, so it's all the Promoters' Cup drivers suddenly at the back of the pack. He's gone from 1st to 8th in 1 lap, whereas Andrei Kurzim is thriving at the front. He's got this massive battle going on behind him. Jochen Hahn looking good in 2nd place. That's a great start for him. While all of his rivals are stuck in the middle of this field, he can start to push on ahead. Steffi Halm has a bit of understeer there at a turn 13. Bit of bodywork came off, I think, or a bollard. Side by side now with Sasha Lenz. And that's only lap 1. That's lap 1 complete here at the Slovakia ring, round 6 of the season. And it's Andrei Kurzim in the Iveco at the front. Then Jochen Hahn, Jamie Anderson in 3rd, looking for an overall podium. He's not in the Promoters' Cup anymore, remember, so he doesn't get a second chance at a podium by being amongst the Promoters' Cup drivers. As down the inside of Antonio Albacetti goes Norbert Kirsch. Their teammates, those that need to be careful here. They're racing as Revesh and T-Sport this season. Reigning teams champions as well. As now, Iveco on Iveco. It's Jochen Hahn chasing down Andrei Kurzim. And Jochen will certainly smell blood in the water here. He had a fantastic first lap, going up from 5th on the grid into 2nd place. And now the two of them are breaking away here from Jamie Anderson, Antonio Albacetti and Norbert Kish. And look at that, Jochen trying to put his nose down the inside already to try and make it through. Nothing doing just yet for him though. There's actually a bit more of a spread now between the two of them as they head down towards turn 10. You can see the whole field just compresses a lot though through there, don't they? They all slow down so much and pinch to the apex of the corner, then get going again over the crest of the hill. There they go. Antonio Albacetti has been able to hold off Norbert Kish for now, actually. Sasha Lenz just behind the pair of them as well, waiting and watching from distance. Just crawling up to this battle. He's got this trio in front of him. It's like a pack of deer. He doesn't want to startle them by approaching too closely. He wants to sneak through like a hunter through some tall grass and then pick them off at his opportunity, or his earliest opportunity, I should say. But that's whether the deer start fighting amongst themselves, and that is Norbert Kirsch chasing down Antonio Albacetti. can see behind as well, the Promoters Cup drivers spread out a little bit there. Mark Taylor's getting closer to the back of John Newell. But it's all remaining in flying formation for the moment. As they go once again over the humongous bumps here. I say bumps, it's not, it's a hill, isn't it, really? Down towards turn 2. This little trio in the middle of the pack, though, is certainly an interesting one. Jamie Anderson will not want to give up a single inch of this racing circuit now to Norbert Kish or Antonio Alberthetti. He's not in a different class anymore, so he doesn't have any reason to play it safe, let these guys have their own battle and go through. He's fighting for the overall championship with them. And just because he wasn't around for race 1 doesn't mean that he's going to roll over and let them go through either. He's not going to give it to them easy at all. But you can see, though, that Sasha Lenz is sticking with Norbert Kish now behind this. Gradually arriving on the scene. And now it's becoming a quartet instead of just the trio that we had a few moments ago. You can hear, the tyres squealing here and there as people change up through the gears, try and get the power down as early as possible and snatch the brakes into these very, very tough braking zones, especially the downhill braking zone there into turn 10. Antonio all over the back of Jamie at this point. And he needs to be so careful, though, if he is going to go for an attack. I've been told it's starting to rain now. Steve Miller has just told me from the paddock that it is starting to rain. There's been a warning for Jose Eduardo Rodriguez in terms of track limits. So he needs to be careful on that one. As now, for the race lead, Jochen Hahn is trying it on Andre Kurzim. He's managed to get the run out of the final corner. They're both limited to 100 miles an hour. So he's not going to be able to overtake him as if he's in any slipstream, but down the inside he's going to have the prime line through turn 1, but he needs to leave space on the exit for Kurzim. No, he doesn't. He gets on the power nice and early. And Jochen Hahn, 6-time champion here in the Goodyear FIA European Truck Racing Championship, takes the lead at the Slovakia ring. Andre Kurzim will still be happy to be right up there with him, and he can sit now behind him and just follow him, try and match his pace over the rest of the race. We're on lap 4 out of 8 here. As I'll remind you, that counter in the top left shows us how many laps we've completed so far. And it's taken nearly half the race for Jochen Hahn to get through, but still, he started 5th on the grid, and after a demon first lap, he was right up there with Andre Kurzim from the off. The battles behind as well have helped the fact that they're able to break away a little bit easier. It means now that Jochen doesn't have to worry too much. He can let Andre get swallowed up by that group behind, and he can move forward and carry on with his own race. But he just needs to make sure that he keeps it tight. He doesn't get ahead of himself here, doesn't push too hard. There's a great battle going on behind this as well, actually, between Anderson, Alberthetti, Kiss and Lenz. They're all just magnetising towards each other, getting closer and closer all the time. And it looks like actually Norbert Kish has got past Antonio Alberthetti now. He must have done that down into turn 7 or turn 8. As they exited the complex, I didn't quite catch the glimpse of them that I wanted to before when they came through shot in the background. So now Norby is going to go chasing Jamie Anderson. Norby will know as well, of course, that Jochen is now ahead of Andre Kurzim, and Jochen could start to disappear over the horizon. So Norby has seen that as a reason to get pushing even more now. It's championship rivals, it's championship points between them. Jochen on to get 10 points here. Norby on to get 7. And that would put Jochen back in the lead of the championship after 3 race days of the 4 we would have completed after tomorrow. So down the start-finish straight once again. A reminder that all of our trucks run on 100% renewable HVO diesel. HVO standing for hydrated vegetable oil. Or hydro-treated vegetable oil, I should say. Over the crest once again, they go down towards turn 2. One of the fastest corners on the circuit. Look at the way they pitch in through there. Sasha Lenz not quite able to stay with Antonio Albertetti here, bad look of it. He closed in on them earlier, but then since the little battle of the last sort of lap or so, he's dropped away again, unfortunately. So not sure if he's just made a little mistake partway around the lap, or whether the rain is starting to affect this, because it is raining the tiniest bit at the moment. It's just spitting, but they're not calling everybody in at the moment. Only some of you will get that reference. Jochen Hahn, though, continues to lead the race by over a second to Andre Kurzim. Andre is then only 1.6 seconds clear of this. Jamie Anderson will be pushing on to try and go after that white and yellow Iveco, so he can focus on putting pressure on him rather than being under pressure from Norbert Kish. This is where Norby likes to overtake, though. Down his turn 8. Doesn't do it this time. He's going to try and maybe set himself up for a good run out of turn 8 towards turn 9. Long left-hander. Doesn't seem worried about Antonio Albertetti behind him. Antonio not able to get close enough yet. Look at the traction out of turn 9 for Norbert Kish. He's pushing Jamie Anderson down that back straight towards turn 10. Dives down the inside. Says, thank you very much. I'll do that on the brakes this time, son. Through turn 11 they go. Jamie needs to be careful not to get greedy on the throttle in frustration at being overtaken. It's very easy to do that through there, but Norbert Kish now moves himself back up into a podium spot, into 3rd place, to go chasing down Andre Kurzim for 2nd. Down towards turn 13, they are absolutely rocketing on their way into turn 13. And it's a very high-speed corner as well. You can see the rain coming down, though, in the background. You can see that it's just changed the colour of the sky completely. Not sure how heavy it's going to get down that part of the circuit, but it's definitely a different environment there than it is compared to the other side of the track at turn 1, down towards turn 2. Let's see how quickly it moves across the track then, and how much it starts to affect the surface if it does pick up even more. Norbert Kish did a 2 minutes 48.1 last time round, 0.4 of a second slower than Jochen Hahn, but he was still a second quicker than Andre Kurzim, and he completed an overtake on that lap as well. So there you go, a clear indication there of the pace that Norby has. Even just in that last sector alone, I'd say he's just got such a pace advantage. And Andre Kurzim now will be looking in his mirrors thinking, please no, not this guy. Out of everybody that could have come chasing me down, not this guy, please. You can see the wipers are on there as well. Now, they're not going to be aquaplaning completely and flying all over the place as you would see in other forms of motorsport when it starts raining halfway through a race. The tyres are really good at dealing with both dry conditions and wet conditions as well. So they won't make any changes really. Had confirmation from my colleague Daria as well, who is in race control, that the first drops of rain are now really starting to affect the track surface. Jamie Anderson also being affected by this, trying to hold off Antonio Albertetti as he tries not to squeeze Sasha Lenz to the outside. I think Norbert Kish has got past Andre Kurzim. Well, he's racing the Don't Touch racing machine side by side, and there is definitely some touching going on, but I think Norby is through on the 6th lap here at the Slovakia ring. There's some definite tyre squeal going on there. Somebody lighting up the rears out of turn 8. Jamie's trying his best to hold on here in front of Antonio. There's definitely a lot of rain down that part of the circuit. You can see it on the surface now as well. Whoa, Sasha Lenz kicking the rear end out slightly round turn 10. You've got to be so careful. It's when you grab a gear, when you go up through the gearbox here, you can just have the diff completely shoot loads of traction to the floor. Sometimes a little bit too much torque as well, just throwing the rear wheels around. There they go through turn 13. Oh, dearie me, off the road is Mark Taylor. He's just had a bit of an excursion there. And you can hear the rain coming down now, down at turn 1 on our camera. Almost makes me want to instinctively put my hands above my head. Look at the spray down the start-finish straight now as Jochen Hahn leads this race. We're on to lap 7 out of 8. We've got 2 more to go. This one and 1 more. Is Norby able to go quick enough to catch up to and overtake Jochen Hahn? We'll have to wait and see. 1.695 is the gap as they cross the line. Let's see how that changes over the course of the race. Behind them is Andre Kurzim in 3rd, Jamie Anderson 4th, Antonio Albertetti in 5th. Then it's Sasha Lenz. Jose Eduardo Rodriguez still leads in the Promoters' Cup. He's ahead of Steffi Halm. Then it's Stefan Faas and John Newell currently rounds out the top 10. Then it's Louis Requenco. Mark Taylor has not completed the lap yet, but he's had that off in the middle of the circuit, of course. He was nearly a minute slower in that middle sector, actually, so he must have almost got stuck as he was trying to negotiate his way through. There's the battle between Jamie Anderson and Antonio Albertetti still going on. And there is Norbert Kish. The Hungarian really does thrive in wet weather racing conditions. You saw him at Misano come through from 11th on the grid after the electrics failure in the first race. He then came through and won the second race of the day. He's brought the gap down by 0.6 of a second. Now it's whether he's going to be able to beat Jochen or whether he's going to sit behind him and just take that 1 point difference between the two of them. You can bet that Norby's not going to let any points slip, but he might play it safe here. We never know. He's right with him now as they go into turn 8. Jochen's still got another lap of this to deal with. It's nearly 3 minutes a lap in these conditions. He's got a lot of corners to stay with him. And look at that. Norbert Kish gets an incredible punch out of turn 8. He wasn't even alongside to begin with, but he just gets the traction, gets the drive out the corner. Jochen's going to try and go around the outside, though, and he keeps a lot of speed up on the exit of turn 9. Respectful stuff by Norby. Sticks to the inside, leaves him the room. What's the situation going to be here into turn 10? Norby goes to the apex. Jochen's maybe going to try and get a good run through turn 11. He's going to open up the right-hander, is he? No, I don't think he's going to be able to here, and Norby gets it done already. Doesn't even have to wait for the final lap of the race. Norbert Kish leads at the Slovakia ring. Truck 1 P1, Truck 2 P2, as Jochen Hahn now tries to catch back up. You can see the definite difference at this part of the circuit, though. There's loads more spray down here towards turn 13. And Norbert showing everyone how it's done at the moment, isn't he? Andre Kurzim trying to hold on to 3rd, ahead of Jamie Anderson, Antonio Albertetti and Sasha Lenz. But it's the bright red machine of Reveche Racing that leads the way with one more lap to go in round 6 of the 2023 Goodyear FIA European Truck Racing Championship. And we've got to have a full course yellow in 15 seconds. So due to the weather conditions, they're going to throw a full course yellow, which is a real shame because it'll mean that there's not going to be any overtaking and the drivers are going to be brought down to a reduced pace. As Jochen's gone alongside, actually. Jochen's gone for it. I'm not sure he's seen said full course yellow. He was alongside Norbert Kish for just a moment there. And there you go, everybody now told that the maximum speed is 70 kilometers an hour. You may have seen a similar procedure to this in other forms of motorsport before. Almost like having a virtual safety car, as other series call it, where they limit the speed all around the circuit. And as you can see there, Norbert Kish is now a long way clear of Jochen Hahn. And the full course yellow is unfortunately called. But at the end of the day, safety is the top priority, as it is across all motorsport. We want to make sure that our drivers are in a safe environment, and we don't want to be throwing them at the scenery unnecessarily. Not that you ever want to really throw them at the scenery, but we don't want them overdoing it in conditions that aren't considered safe. So with the rain suddenly coming in and them being used to a dry track over the course of this race, not that we don't believe in them to adapt, we just don't want to obviously be throwing them all around the circuit in unsafe conditions that could get very easily caught out by. It's so easy to overdo it in racing machines like this. So Norbert Kish has made his way to the front of the pack in the perfect amount of time, hasn't he? He literally got straight to the front of the pack, and then as soon as he'd done so, the full course yellow was called. The race will be finished under full course yellow, we've been told. And there you go, the yellow flag still waving on the start-finish straight, and the checkered flag will be waved with it. And you can hear the air horns still going off in the background. It's a shame that the weather has affected the second race of the day. But still, you can't control the weather. And there's not a lot of elements we can control in motorsport. We try to do what we can. But as you see, Norbert Kish has just a couple more corners to go before he takes his second win on the bounce and extends his championship lead by just 1 point more over Jochen Hahn. Obviously, with the reverse grid races being, let's just say, grid sorted a bit less on merit than the first ones, which are organised, of course, by the results of qualifying, it's only fair that the same amount of points can't be scored as the race 1 results, because some people would then just sandbag race 1 to get easy points in race 2. Not that racing drivers would ever do anything to try and exploit the system or anything. No. Never. But still, before that point, it was a very exciting race, wasn't it? Plenty going on, plenty of battles up and down the pack. And I believe they will get them to cross the line in full finishing style, so they're not going to order them back to the pits. They're going to get them to cross the line, and then they will have their cool-down lap, and hopefully we'll get some more drifting out of Norbert Kish as he's about to take race number 2 of the day and race number 2 of the weekend. Jochen Hahn's going to finish in second position and get some more solid championship points for his campaign. And Andrei Kurzim is going to score himself a podium, which is great to see. And there you go. There's Norby doing some drifting for us. There'll be plenty more of that as well around the final couple of corners, I'm sure, when they have this cool-down lap completed. Jose Eduardo Rodriguez is going to take his second win of the day in the Promoters' Cup. Stefan Faas is going to come home in second, so still the pair of them have been on every podium so far this season in the Promoters' Cup. And John Newell is going to take a podium finish in that category as well. That's going to be his third appearance on the podium this season. More silverware for him and the family. But Norbert Kish reigns supreme in the rain once again, and it's another race victory to go onto his tally. That's 83 wins in the championship now, and he's certainly showing everybody that he is not mucking about with these reverse grid races, I should say. There's your podium confirmed then. Norbert Kish, Jochen Hahn and Andrei Kurzim. Andrei will be, again, a very happy boy with that one, because that's his 16th podium in the championship. He's not had a massive amount of them, so we'll see a great reaction from Andrei and the team, I'm sure. The Don't Touch Racing Berlin team. And like I say, it's a shame that it had to end that way, But that's what racing does sometimes. You can't always control these conditions, and we want to make sure that it is all as safe as possible. But 2 Ivecos on the podium will certainly be a popular result. But it's the MAN of Norbert Kish that is top of the pile once more. Fastest lap of the race in that one was a 2:45.1 by Norby, and just to put that into context, the fastest lap record around here is obviously, it has to be set in a race, which is what makes a lap record count, is a 2:42.8. So it's 2.3 seconds off at the moment, although Norby did go faster than that record by nearly a second last year during Superpole, where he did a 2:41.905. It was an amazing lap. Well, unfortunately for him, did not count as the new lap record because of the fact that it has to be set during the race. But they will now coast their way into the pit lane. Once they've completed this lap, of course, they still stay under effective full course yellow conditions. I think that will be the reason that there's not really any drifting or celebrating going on by Norby. He's just respecting proceedings. Jochen Hahn will be devastated that he lost the lead with just a couple of metres before the full course yellow was called out. But again, that's just part of racing sometimes. That's how it goes. Jamie Anderson will be pretty happy with that, to be fair, getting a 4th place finish in his second race of the weekend. And that's more points for his campaign after missing the first race meeting of the season. You can see the marshals and everybody showing their support for the drivers, showing their appreciation as well. Fantastic relationship between drivers and marshals. Of course, there's a lot of respect for both sides of the event, let's say. We really respect our marshals for allowing us to go racing and putting themselves out there to keep these race meetings running as smoothly as they can. And of course, the drivers know that they're all there to do a good job as well, and they wouldn't be racing without them. So Norbert Kish coming round the final corner now to head into the pit lane and be greeted by the congratulations of his colleagues and his team members after another race victory. It's not very often we see people take races 1 and 2 in a day, but he's managed to do it once again, and just again showing how good Norbert Kish is. You can hear the horns sounding as well. I can tell you that Baloo has one very, very loud horn on it. I've been present many a time when that horn has been sounded in the paddock, and it's quite terrifying, to be honest with you. There is Jochen Hahn in P2. And Andrei Kurzim in 3rd place. He'll be over the moon with that result. We'll keep our eye out, of course, for him getting out of the truck and celebrating with the team. Mark Taylor will be frustrated at that mistake that put him into the gravel. But it's part of the learning curve for Mark. He's just looking for a lot of progress this season and just to get experience out there on the track with this championship. As we've said, it's very different to the British Truck Racing Championship in a couple of ways. So he's just getting used to the level of competition and obviously improving on his own driving as well and getting quicker all the time. And he sees it as a real positive opportunity for that, which is great. There is Norbert Kish. Arms in the air again. And another great victory. A great fight back through the field from the reverse grid. Hugs galore, and Andrei Kurzim celebrates with his team after another overall podium, his 16th overall podium in the championship. And unfortunately, everybody, I don't speak German. I'm sure somebody could translate that somewhere for us. But still, Andrei Kurzim will be over the moon with that one. If the race would have stayed under full green flag conditions, he might have had a bit more of a fight on his hands with Jamie Anderson at the end there. But he didn't have to defend too hard when the end of the race was all said and done. And we're going to go down into the pit lane once again now because Christina is ready with an interview.
Absolutely, with Jochen Hahn, congratulations, great battle, but just a few seconds, and then the yellow flag was up. Did you thought then, that could have been a bit earlier?
Today it's the first day I have a good feeling in the wet conditions. So I have the mistake in the first race and again in the second race, so it's a shame, yeah. But when you a long time not so good from the performance in the wet condition, and now we found something, but you must trust on it. So and I'm on the limit and brake a little bit late, and I think, come on, Kiss, it's here, go away and No, I must train. That's training, It's happy. Second place, it's good from the position 5. So from this side, it's a good day in the end, and we will see tomorrow what happens.
How could you train raining conditions?
No, I think it's in the head, It's you can say, the brakes or something. No. It's in the head. You must feel it. You must trust it, and then you can go on the limit. Or not over the limit, and that's what I have. And okay, then you cannot win when you have a mistake. Second place, happy, that's it.
And happy for the champagne. That could be over the limit then.
For sure. Yeah.
Thank you very much. Back to you.
Once again, love Jochen's interviews. He's always got the right thing to say. But like he says, he's just got to focus on doing what he can do in these sorts of conditions and in this sort of environment. You've just got to push on and try and do the best that you can. And it's always very difficult to hold Norbert Kish back. And as we saw there, that was certainly the case. Norbert Kish wins race 2 of the day. 2 out of 2 for him so far this weekend, with Jochen Hahn in second place. Still good points from that one. Andrei Kurzim finishes in third, his 16th podium. And then Jamie Anderson finishes in fourth. He's having a good weekend so far on his return to the series. Antonio Albertetti finishes 5th ahead of Sasha Lenz. Jose Eduardo Rodriguez takes another win in the Promoters' Cup, with Steffi Halm and Stefan Fast next up. John Newell grabs a top 10 and will be on the podium in the Promoters' Cup in third place. Louis Requenco finishes 11th, and Mark Taylor is the truck at the back of the field after his earlier mistake into the gravel. But luckily, still able to finish and still collect some championship points for his troubles. We now wait for the drivers and personnel to make their way up to the podium. It's quite an intimate podium here at Slovakia Ring. There's a lot of fans able to get very close, as you can see there. That balcony up the top is where people can all stand. As the results, I should say, are now written down, ready to get everybody onto the podium and give out their trophies. They're all shouting, "We want Norby." A massive amount of fans here for Norbert Kish. There's Andrei Kurzim on the podium. Very well done to Andrei. Second place to Jochen Hahn. And Norbert Kish on the top step gets a massive cheer, air horns and all sorts. Very well done to Norby for another race victory. That's got to be such a great feeling. Trophies are given out then. Andrei Kurzim receives his third place trophy. Jochen Hahn gets another one for the collection. Like I say, 277 podiums now for Jochen Hahn. I imagine it's more of a trophy warehouse than a trophy cupboard. The same with Antonio Albertetti. And it's certainly getting that way for Norbert Kish as well. That's his 173rd podium. And another trophy for another win number 83. And there we go then, the Hungarian national anthem sounds out somewhat quietly around the Slovakia ring. And everybody gets a big round of applause. Our overall podium finishes, and you can be sure that the champagne will be sprayed now. Although I think Jochen is going to be quite early on this one. They need to do the pictures first. Jochen is always the mischievous one. He's ready for the champagne cork, I'm sure, to pop. That was my colleague Daria, just stood to the left-hand side of the podium there. She's taking on all the press and media duties this weekend. She's on the ground at Slovakia ring. And you could see that as soon as the champagne bottles were armed, she was off and she was away. Jochen's now ready to stoke people once again. And so are Norbert Kish and Andre Kurzim as well. Norby celebrating with his fans, which is a great feeling, I can imagine. As Jochen and Andre take a swig of the champagne. And Norby gets an involuntary swig of the champagne and a great spraying of it there by Andre Kurzim. Good fun, loads of fun. I love the podium celebrations and everything about this championship. All the drivers, all the people, they're so great. And they have a wonderful time together, not just racing together, but having this camaraderie as well on the podiums and even just celebrating in the paddock and working together on fixing trucks, all of it. It's just a great place to be. There's your championship standings and 66 points to to Norbert Kish, apologies. Jochen Hahn second place on 64, Antonio Albertetti on 60. They've opened up a little bit of a gap over Sasha Lenz in fourth place with 10 points back then to Andre Kurzim. Jose Eduardo Rodriguez in sixth, ahead of Stefan Faas, who is 2 points clear of Steffi Halm. Jamie Anderson has made his way into the top 10 already and is ahead of John Newell, who is currently inside the top 10 on 11 points as well. Then we have Jonathan Andre on 7 points, ahead of Heinrich Clemens Hecker on 6. Louis Rikwenko has 4 points and Mark Taylor has scored 3. There'll be another podium presentation now as drivers from the Promoters Cup are given their trophies. That's Stefan Faas for finishing in second place. John Newell was third. And Jose Eduardo Rodriguez takes another victory in the class. That's his 5th race win out of 6 races so far this season. A very big well done to Jose Eduardo. And he continues to carry the family name within truck racing. I believe it was back in 2016. Let me just confirm it. It was 2016 when Jose Eduardo Rodriguez and his father and his grandfather were all on track together at Jarama. And there you go. Now the guys are going to pose for their pictures on the podium. And now comes the champagne after their pictures, although no spraying of it today by the look of it. The guys taking it nice and easy, and they're going to take it back and obviously drink it this evening. Stefan Faas sharing the love with his team. And another solid run of championship points for him in the Promoters Cup. But Jose Eduardo Rodriguez has a 19-point advantage now at the top of the pile. He's doing so well with Stefan Faas in second place. He's got a bit of a safe buffer over John Newell as well. And then there's only 1 point between Mark Taylor and Louis Rikwenko. They're going to have a great battle all season long with Jonathan Andre and Heinrich Clemens Hecker in there as well. Only 5 points separating those 4 drivers from 4th down to 7th. But in terms of the action here today at the Slovakia ring, that is going to be it for on-track action and podium action as well. I believe we may get an interview from Christina in just a moment's time, but as you see, the entire day will continue on here at this wonderful circuit. I believe there's another support race or two still to come. It's 6 o'clock, though, in the evening at the Slovakia ring, just going 5 p.m. here in the UK. I'm commentating remotely again this weekend, but we'll be back on site for the Nürburgring and then Le Mans and Jarama later on in the year. And as expected, we'll go back down to Christina.
And we are here with Stefan Faas. Congratulations. No spraying of champagne. What happened?
Ja, wir haben uns eigentlich abgesprochen, dass wir nicht sprühen, alle zusammen. Und wenn einer das dann macht, kommt es nicht so schön rüber.
This was a team event, so they shared it, of course, with their team. So they all agreed of not doing it. Let's talk about this race. There was a bit spraying of the rain then. Difficult condition. You started in sunny conditions and then afterwards in the rain. How was it for you?
Ja, es war sehr anstrengend, weil der Regen kam nur teilweise über die Strecke. Also eine halbe Strecke war ungefähr nass und der Rest war noch sehr trocken. Und da konnte man dann wieder etwas mehr Gas geben. Es war sehr speziell, weil wir ja auf einem Trocken-Setup unterwegs waren.
So you said the setup, of course, was for dry conditions, but it was 50-50, 50% of wet conditions and 50% of dry conditions. So they knew they had to accelerate in these dry periods and then set back a bit in these wet conditions. So very difficult driving, of course. Any plans for tomorrow? Wie sieht es denn morgen aus? Wir können uns ja auf nichts einstellen.
Ja, ich hoffe mal, dass wir morgen vielleicht ein bisschen besseres Wetter haben. Ja, wir stellen uns ganz normal drauf ein, wie sonst auch, bereiten den Tag heute Abend vor und morgen gehen wir mit hoffentlich schönem Wetter in den neuen Renntag.
Vielen Dank. Tschüssi. So you said, obviously, we're trying to give our best and we do prepare for every condition that should be possible tomorrow. But he's hoping for some better weather conditions, and we are too. So lots of champagne has been sprayed, but on the other hand, some champagne has been saved for tomorrow. We do see it again tomorrow. 3 more live events, the qualifying, 2 races here at the Slovakia ring. It's going to be much fun with all you guys joining us on our live stream. I see the teams right now collecting the champagne bottles. So let's have a sip of maybe some mineral water with you. Cheers to you. Thank you very much for joining us. And I will have just a quick change ahead of the highlights because I want to see the sun and I want to slide into the weekend like you will see.
Yes, indeed, a fantastic start to our day and plenty of weather conditions thrown at us over the course of race 1, and then race 2 had a bit more of the same, but in reverse order. Rather than it drying out, it just got wetter and wetter as the race went on. A very lively race start for everybody involved, though. Jose Eduardo Rodriguez leading us away, but ultimately dropping down to 8th position by the end of the first lap. Steffi Halm having a tough time in the opening encounter as well, with Norbert Kish coming through and very, very quickly getting to the front of the field. He was held up for a little bit behind Antonio Albertetti, but it was still a great charge through the pack while Jochen Hahn took the lead from Andrei Kursim. The two Ivecos would lead the way for quite the while Norby picked off other drivers one by one, all in their MANs. Jamie Anderson trying to put up a fight through turns 10 and 11. He would still hold on ahead of Albertetti until the very end. The wipers were on though, and the wet conditions were upon us. Drivers were scrabbling around all over the place trying to find some grip. Mark Taylor unfortunately didn't find any out in the gravel or on the grass, but would recover and still finish the race. Jochen Hahn would go on to try and defend his very best over Norbert Kish, but the superior traction from his red MAN was just undeniably quick and great on the braking zones as well. Unfortunately, finishing the race under full course yellow, but still a fantastically entertaining spectacle once again from the Slovakia ring. And as Christina said, we will have 2 more races tomorrow, and we really look forward to it all once again and hope that you will join us for that one too.
We are still here. Norbert, do you have time for just a quick... We can sit on the bench. I mean, why not?
Sit on the bench?
Yeah.
Okay.
Hi. I mean, it's the end of the day right now, so you can chill and relax, but it's been very, very difficult to compete. And the yellow flag was up, and then there was a bit of relaxation going on because you knew there was no overtaking taking place afterwards.
Yeah, for sure. I was told in the radio as well that we are going to have the full course yellow, and then I also see the signs on the side of the circuit. So then I know there is no overtaking. But then of course Johan was coming, and almost overtake me, and then I pushed back a little bit as well, to stay in front. But then Johan noticed or maybe he was told, so he slowed down as well. And then because we have like 15 seconds or something like that to slow down to 70. So then I slowed down to 70 as well, and then we go, and it was we just had enough time, just enough. Because if the rain is not coming, then for sure I don't win this race. Maybe on the podium, maybe third place was possible, but then when the rain was starting to come, like 4 laps to go or something like that, that was a good point. And my windshield was quite muddy, because of the first laps already. Some people cut a little bit inside in the grass, and there was a lot of mud, and I didn't want to start the Vipers too soon, because if you start it too soon, when it's still not wet enough, then you will block your view completely. If the mud is all over your windscreen. So I was waiting for the big rain, and then we were coming to this last turn when it started to rain like really, really big, and then that was good for me because then I could clean my windshield and I could see the circuit, see how wet it is and what's possible. And then Johan also made a mistake. He was almost out in the gravel. He barely made it back. And then I was right behind him, and then I was trying to look for a point where he's not so fast and try to make an overtake on him. And it was good, it was working. So really happy overall, with these 2 victories, and that we are up in the points, back in the not back in the lead. We are in the lead for the first time this year. So really happy about that.
Thank you very much. And we do wipe our cameras and have a little bit of sun sliding into weekend. Bye. So, Goodyear FIA European Truck Racing Championship is also fun for the youngest. Do we have fun? Yes! Shall we slide? Yay! Tomorrow at Sunday, please tune in again. Bye-bye.